Guys, so it's very late right now. That's why it's so dark in my room. It's a vibe right now. So we're making this video and it's gonna be good. So in this video, I wanna talk to everyone who has a very big interest in real estate, a passion for real estate, people who want to do something in real estate, whether it's flipping properties, getting rental properties, making Airbnbs, something in real estate in the future, but they're just stuck right now. Either they're too young, they don't have enough money, enough capital, or they're just super busy in their life, or their credit score is bad, something where it's blocking them, but they're planning on doing in the future and they are gonna take action. Just right now isn't the best time, and they wanna work on it so bad, but right now they just can't. So what's going on, guys? My name is Reno James, and today we are talking about real estate. So the first step about real estate is making sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for free knowledge on a weekly basis. Thank you. First step for real, obvious one, save money. Save. If you're a really big spender and you're someone who's buying stuff all the time, you gotta cut back on that, because that is the most important thing. You need capital for real estate. You need it in the business to make money. Unless if you have a rich dad or a rich friend that's just gonna give you a bunch of money and you're gonna use that to buy a property, you're gonna need money. So you really gotta start paying attention to what you're spending, and you gotta try to build your bank account. If you're someone who has $300 in their bank account because they're always spending stuff on random clothes or random stuff that they don't really need, you gotta start saving money if you want to actually do real estate. Step number 2, this one's boring too, so we're just gonna cover it really fast. Start reading books. You aren't gonna be buying a real estate property anytime soon. That's established. So what can you do? Build knowledge. Reading books is the best way to build knowledge. It's literally reading about professionals who have done it, talk about how to do it. So get that experience. You will learn so much from it. I know it's boring, but you got to start reading those books. Okay, so now let's get into the more serious stuff. You have to pay attention to the housing market. You need to pay attention about what interest rates are, what houses are selling for versus what their asking price is. You have to understand the conditions of the housing market and the real estate market and what affects different things. For example, right now in 2021, the housing market is going crazy. People are paying ridiculous amounts for houses and for properties. There's a bunch of different reasons why. We can get into that in another video, but the housing market is crazy right now. So if you're planning on buying your first property and you're buying it because you really want to, maybe hold back and wait for the market to pull back a little bit, and maybe you can get something for cheaper. So making sure you know what the market is like, what the condition is, so you can try to get the best deal possible. All right, so the next step is go around and actually try to find like for sale properties, whether they're duplexes, apartment complexes, single family homes, and try to actually find for sale properties and pay attention to them. Like, either go look up how much they're worth, how much their neighbors are worth, how much you think you could rent for them, if anyone on the street is renting. You can find basically anything on the internet. It's really not that hard. And if you don't know how to do it, just look it up on the internet. Like, you can go on and look at your county's housing thing, and like you can find basically how much your neighbor's house is worth, how much you're across the street. Like, you can find basically anything on there. So start researching, start finding out how much money houses actually cost. And also just apps like Zillow or Realtor.com, go on those things and start like looking at what properties are worth, so you're getting a better idea of like appraising houses and knowing how much they're worth, the size, the square footage, making sure you know these things, because this is really important to know if you're going to eventually be in the real estate market. Another step is making sure you start building a credit score. A credit score is super important for trying to get a loan, whether it's from a bank, whether it's a private lender. They're going to want to see your credit history, because if you have bad credit history, you're not going to have a good shot of getting a loan, or a private lender is not going to loan to you. You got to make sure you have a credit score, a good credit score history. And if you're trying to get a loan from a bank, you're actually going to need like 2 years of consistent pay and a steady paying job to get that loan, so they trust you that you have income coming in for sure. So just making sure you're paying attention to stuff like that, the little things that do matter a lot, because let's be honest, you're probably not just gonna have a bunch of cash laying around to do that. If you do, great, that's a great way. That's how I would love to start. But however, with the housing market and with how expensive houses are right now, you're probably gonna need to get a loan. So just making sure we're paying attention to little things. If you don't even have a credit card, let's start working on that, because that's something that's really important if you're trying to eventually do real estate in the future. And finally, like networking stuff. If you know a real estate agent, if your parents are one, if you have a family friend that's one, or if you just know somebody that is, try reaching out to them and try talking to them to pick their brain about stuff that you can learn, because real estate agents know a ton about real estate, because that's literally what they do every single day, and they can actually help you, especially if it's like a family friend who's a real estate agent. For sure, go out and get lunch with them and try to pick their brain about real estate, and they could potentially help you one day. Because if you're looking to buy a house and they're a real estate agent, they're going to want to get that commission, so they will help you in that process. So for sure, make them a connection, make them a closer friend, because that is someone that's going to help you out so much in the future. And if you just know people that are doing real estate and that are like either flipping houses, like for example, that video I posted with my friend that they're flipping houses, like going with them, I learned so much about flipping houses. Like, it's ridiculous how much capital you need and how much above what the property is worth to flip a house, because there is so much work involved. And you can't just, if you're trying to buy like, let's say $100,000 house, you can't have $110,000 and then expect to put $5,000 in it and then just like barely cutting it close. Like, you need to actually have capital, you need to know what you're doing, you need to expect complications, and you need to figure everything out. So make sure you know what's going on in this process. All right, so I had to move over here because my window, the light was getting so dark you could like barely see my face. So let's just wrap this video up. I just want to say, I would hate for you guys to be so excited to get into real estate, all this stuff you want to do in real estate, and then you get to the point and you run into trouble, like you don't even have that good of a credit score and you can't get a loan. Or you get up and you don't realize how much the house is actually going to cost and how much construction and the contractors and everything are going to cost. I'm just saying, make sure you know what you're doing. Like, you want to know what you're doing before you even start it. Like, you want to go in and you obviously don't have the live experience of it, but you want to know every single step of the way to how to do it, because that's what you want to be, because you want to be so comfortable. You want to simulate what you're going to do, so when it comes to the time, you don't like choke or anything, or you don't mess up the process, you don't mess up the deal. So all these things are just as or more important than actually taking the action, because this is what's going to help you in that first deal. That first deal is going to be the hardest deal. It will get easier as you go because you'll be getting smarter, but that first deal you have to get by, and all of this knowledge is so important and it's so underrated in this business. So let me know what you guys think of real estate, what you want to invest in. If you do, drop the comments down there and like this video, and thank you. Until next time.